Sigmund Freud once compared the human mind to the city of Rome. He was talking about its intriguing layers. Just as the mind has a buildup of memories, Rome has a history that goes deeper and deeper. Every modern building is on top of a Renaissance one, and under that you find the medieval buildings, and then ancient Rome itself. Freud might also have said that, just as with the mind, as you go deeper into the city you find the unpleasant parts like the slums as well as the clean, splendidly proper parts. Ancient Rome was home to 1 million people and was, in its time, the biggest city in Europe. Most of that million, from the dockworkers to the hairdressers, didn't live in spacious marble villas. They were packed into tower blocks that lined narrow streets, with hardly any public services. It must have been a tough place to survive in. So where can you still find signs of these ordinary, high-rise Romans? Amazingly, the answer is, all over the city. You only need to know where to look, and keep your eyes open. My favorite remnant of ordinary ancient Roman life is still standing in the heart of tourist Rome. It's part of a tower block, still surviving to 5 stories in a modern square, just underneath the Victor Emmanuel Monument. Most of these blocks have fallen down, but this one was lucky. It survived because it was turned into a church. It's easy to work out the basic organization of the block. At street level, there are shops and workshops. The principle was, the higher you went, the worse it got. On the first floor you can see some spacious family flats, and above that, bedsits. The question is, how many people were squashed into these rooms? If they were for one 17 person, then this was very tight living. But if they were single rooms without bathroom or cooking facilities, designed for whole families, they must have been really dreadful conditions. And in ancient Rome, as this particular high-rise block reminds us, rich and poor lived and worked side by side. There weren't many zones given over exclusively either to the rich or the poor. In fact, if you look hard enough, you can find traces of ordinary people inside the most luxurious and ceremonial buildings of the city. A visit to the ancient Roman Forum can be a disappointment. This was once the center of Roman public life, where the Senate met. It is now an mysterious set of ruins, with just a few standing landmarks, 2 splendid triumphal arches and the 3 vast columns of the Temple of Castor. The Forum becomes far more interesting if you also look down for the evidence of the ordinary men and women who shared this space with the great and the good, and who had their own things to do there, from a bit of gambling to basic dentistry. Running along its south side are the now decidedly unimpressive ruins of what was once the splendid Basilica Julia, home of one of Rome's law courts, plus some government offices. Not much survives beyond the floor and the steps leading up to it. A barrier now prevents visitors from walking inside. But actually you don't need to look over the barrier onto the steps, and you will see the clear traces cut into the stone of scores of gaming boards. We haven't a clue about the exact rules of the games, but never mind. It's clear that the Basilica Julia wasn't just a place for busy lawyers. Go back 2,000 years and you would find the place littered with men with time on their hands, betting on some ancient equivalent of backgammon.